Drew Rutherford was born in Edinburgh in October 1953 and 16 years later was playing for the Scotland schoolboy side in wins over England, Wales and Ireland. In that same year, he was also playing youth football for English giants Arsenal. After failing to make the breakthrough at Highbury, Drew returned to Scotland and was picked up by East Fife, who were playing in the top flight at the time. It was in Methil where he met his wife Margaret, and in February 1977 made the move to Muirton Park under manager Jim Storey. In Perth, he managed to help St Johnstone stave off relegation over a number of seasons. A particular highlight was scoring in a 3-2 win over Dundee in May 1979, a result which guaranteed Saints' Division 1 status.
That was a big game against Dundee. It was a local derby. It was important for us because we were trying to avoid relegation, and it was a fantastic achievement because they were a full-time club at the time. We were only part-time. It was a great night. The weather was great. It was a midweek game, great atmosphere, and the fans were right on top of you. There was a good crowd there that night, if I remember. It might have been about 6,000-7,000. Back then that was a decent crowd midweek, and we managed to beat them 3-2, and it was well deserved. I think Big Drew actually scored in that game, which is unusual for him, but great result, great night, and that was the pressure off us. We'd avoided relegation.
Late in 1979 saw the signing of a midfielder who would also go on to become an iconic player for St Johnstone, Jim Morton.
One of my first impressions of Drew was quite funny actually, because my first game we played Claybank, which all the score didn't go that well, but anyway, on the day, it was midway through the first half and they got a corner. And really, we weren't really organised who was picking up which. I think Tam and Neil and John Mackay were on the post, and Drew says to me, it was some banter with the centre halves and the centre forwards, and they'd call each other big girls and the usual colourful language that you would get. And he says to me, Jimmy, you pick up she. And I went, okay. He says, make sure she doesn't get in front of you. And I thought, okay, in front of me. And then he put, right, okay, not a problem. So I was marking this guy here. Next minute, the ball got played over. And the guy right at the near post flicked the header and the ball went right over the back and went in for a goal kick. And he says to me, Jay! I said, what? He said, I told you not to let him get in front of you. I said, well, he never got in front of me. He goes, I did. He says, he put him in there. I said, that's number 3. He goes, that's what I said, number 3. So although he was a big fifer, he talked more posh than a fifer. But and that was the first moment, and we just had a laugh about it, and then we moved on. You're thinking, but if never coming across that again, make sure nobody ever got in the front post again in front of me, because he just give me a stick about that all the time, which was quite funny. But that was Drew. He was a true fifer at that point in time,
But it wasn't until Alex Rennie's arrival in 1980 when things started to turn round for the club. One of Rennie's first signings was Alex Caldwell from Dundee, who became Drew's new partner at centre half.
As a teammate, very, very loyal. When I first went there, obviously I'm coming from Dundee, I'd been full time, and it was actually difficult settling in. It made me feel very, very, very welcome. And then when I started playing alongside him, for me personally, I knew it would be a good relationship. We both had good football knowledge at the levels we played at, and I think just as we started to work together, it became obvious that we were going to be a partnership.
In 1982-83, after 2 seasons of coming close to promotion, Saints knew a point at Alloa, and the penultimate match of the season would secure a return to the top flight for the first time in 7 years.
Memories of that was sleeping before the game and getting up in the morning and being excited about it, no worried about it, because I knew the players were capable of it. But the game itself was very tense. Andy Brannigan scored, and then it was just hanging on at the end. But the joy after it was great, brilliant.
Well, I remember it was the goal behind me here, and it was a crowd at goalmouth, and it was a scramble, and Andy got a strike on it into the corner of the net, and it was really important because the fans were all behind the goal down there as well. It went crazy. It was a great atmosphere, and to gain promotion was fantastic.
St Johnstone won the Division 1 title the following week with a 2-0 home win over Dunfermline. Drew was a father to 3 children, Jill, Gary and Colin, and upon winning the league title, asked for his son Gary's name to be engraved on his winner's medal.
When St Johnstone were in the first division, every Saturday or whenever Drew was going out to play in the league, he would rub Gary's head and he would say, "Luck, wee man." And he says, "If we win this medal," he says, "I'll get your name on it." he says, because you put me luck every Saturday.
And many times you see Drew slide in a slide tackle, and majority of the time you see the ball would slide out. No, with Drew would slide in and capture the ball, and on move and stand up with the ball, and then ping a 30-yard pass, because he just loved to play, you know. The amount of times he did that through that season was just amazing, you know. Stopping attacks, picking the ball up, and then just switching play. It was, you know, I can see him now sliding the big long legs, scooping the ball, the striker falls over, he picks the balls up and just pings a 30-yard pass, game again. He did that more than anybody probably in the team, whereas it wasn't like a centre half was supposed to do, but he was more, like as I keep saying, he was a culture centre half. And today's game he would be an absolute star, you know.
The St Johnstone number 6 eventually left Perth in 1985, seeing out the rest of his playing career back in Fife at Cowdenbeath. His swan song in a Saints shirt, a 3-2 win over Clyde, set a club record for most appearances, with a final tally of 345 games. Despite this record being surpassed in recent seasons by Alan Main and Stephen Anderson, Drew Rutherford will always be remembered as a true great of St Johnstone Football Club.
I feel like I've grown up with St Johnstone just because of how many years my dad was there. And I'll always remember him as the man who broke the record of appearances. And I don't know if I'm really allowed to say this, but when Alan Main had broke my dad's record, I remember saying to my mum, he's not really broke it because he had a broken cervix. So, and he's a goalie, doesn't really count.
He's probably one of the highest appearances that he's made for the club. Drew's probably in the top 3 or 4, isn't he? And yeah, well deserved. Gentleman, great guy off the pitch, great family man. He was proud of his family, and it's tragic what happened to him. And absolutely delighted. Couldn't have went to a nicer guy, and I hope Margaret, Jill and Gary have a great night, and I'm sure they'll enjoy it, because you know they'll be so proud of him and he'll be proud of them. And yeah, I hope he has a great night.